would have been nice to hear that side of it too. If you'd like more information on the Matrix program, contact the Mayor's Office, Homeless Coordinator at 415-554-6125. And for information on support groups for homeless people, contact Centro Familiar at 415-826-6364. And stay tuned, there's more Bay Sunday after these messages.
Up next on Bay Sunday, women fighting in...
Thanks so much for being with me this morning, although
Thank you for having us, Barbara.
It's terrible that it's about a topic that many people would wish never had to be talked about because they wish it didn't happen. How prevalent is this? How many, what percentage of women are victims of incest or abuse?
I think that the percentage is much higher than the public is acknowledging. I know that at Glide Church in our recovery programs that at least 98% of the women in our recovery programs have been molested, abused, incested, violated, raped, battered at some point.
98%?
98%. And I think that that indicates that there is a very strong correlation between abuse and addiction.
And other kinds of problems in later life.
Absolutely.
Sandy, when did your abuse begin? What happened to you?
I was about 15, 14 years old. One of my uncles, he would take me fishing a lot. That's when mine first started. And then it went on to a stepfather, and then another stepfather. I have a son by one of those fathers, which is 31 years old today.
Did you ever tell anyone?
I was afraid to.
And what was it that made you so afraid? Did they threaten you?
Yeah. If you tell, you're gonna get sent away. You're gonna get a beating because it's your fault. It was mostly my fault, you know.
What were your feelings over the years after that happened about yourself?
I used drugs and alcohol to stuff those feelings. I didn't want to feel it. I knew it had happened, and I was afraid to tell anybody. I was ashamed, especially with my oldest son. I was very ashamed to talk about that. And then when I came to Glide, my godmother, she would talk about this, and I kept wondering, what is she talking about? And well, should I tell her? Which I trust my godmother very much today. I really do trust you. But when she started talking about it, and then I got listening to my godmother talk about her stuff, okay.
So that said, it was okay, it was safe to tell.
It's okay to talk about this today.
Yeah.
And then my godfather sister would say, instead of being angry with that person, embrace him and pray on him. And I would use crack and alcohol and stuff to get away from that.
So you've now you're no longer addicted to any of those?
No, I'm in recovery. I just finished a graduation at Walden House. I got one more walk across the stage and I'm final with Walden House after 4 years of being there. Then I do parenting classes. You know, I'm still an outreach worker at Glide. You know.
Good. Janice, now you too are an incest survivor.
Yes, I was.
And how difficult was it for you to tell someone, and how long was it before you told anyone?
Well, I was incested for 11 years of my childhood by a number of adult males in my family, and I didn't talk about it at all. I went through 15 years of therapy, and you know, it was very, very difficult for me to understand why I was having the feelings that I was having, because there's so much that is stuffed and hidden. And then when we started our recovery programs about 5 or 6 years ago, I realized, my God, when the women were in recovery were talking about their abuse issues in the safety of the circle, of course, in the privacy of the circle, I realized, my God, I'm also addicted. I've also been terribly much in denial.
What was the effect on your life in terms of she said she became a drug addict and alcohol abuser. What happened to you as a result?
I had bouts with alcoholism. I also had stuffed my stuff behind workaholism. I smoked 4 packs a day of cigarettes. I mean, I had a lot of addictions, and you know, and I think that people need to understand that addiction doesn't necessarily mean chemical abuse. I mean, there are all forms of addictions, and I think that they're just as self-destructive. And you know, the sense of powerlessness that women feel, the sense of victimization that women feel, is actually a form of suicide in itself, because it prevents us from being powerful and creative. And it prevents us from going, you know, asserting ourselves and saying what it is that we feel and what it is that we need in relationships or in our workplace. I mean, continue the patterns of abuse within our lives.
I want you to read a little bit. You have written, in this book there are poems and stories written by the women who
Yes.
were abused. Would you read just a little of your poem on page 45, Insect Collection, which is about your own, about the incest in your life?
Oh, thank you. Yes, I'd
Yeah,
love to.
yeah,
I
it's a very
did
nice
write this right after a public disclosure at Glide Church in
Okay.
a Sunday celebration. And that's when all the stuff opened up for me.
Okay.
Insect collection. I collected insects for my biology class, beetles, crickets, butterflies, dropped them into a bottle of cyanide fumes and quickly stilled those beating wings. He locked me in an airless vault of shame, the darkness of closets and barns and muffled bedrooms, kept me in a jar of silence with the poisons of threat. If you speak of this, you will kill your mother. I pinned dead insects neatly on paraffin with gleaming silver straight needles. I think I hear butterflies scream. He peeled back my skin, pierced my flesh with the dull blades of his hands, slowly pulled off my wings, impaled me, writhing. Without swift mercy of insecticide, I suffocated slowly, swallowing bits of my tongue. My body, hollow as the mute row of corpses, pinned to paraffin.
It's a beautiful poem, but a very sad, sad poem. Well, as a result of now speaking about this, writing the book, what has happened to with both of you? Just very quickly, we're almost out of time.
What's happening with me now? I feel free. I'm much more happier.
Good.
I'm relieved.
Good.
I think there's a great liberation in talking, and I hope it's liberating for others to read this book and to be able to themselves feel that they can talk.
Good. Thank you so much both for being here. And if you're interested in attending the book signing and reception for Watch Out, We're Talking, it will be held at Glide Church on Sunday, March 27th from 1 to 3 p.m. And for more information on childhood survivors of incest and abuse, contact 771-6300. And don't go away, there's still more Bay Sunday ahead. Sunday. Thanks for watching, and be sure to join us again next week.